right now let's discuss about resource planning and allocation. Okay, the first thing that we need to understand is that what is resource planning? So that is simply identifying all resources needed for a project, whether it is human resource, physical resource, or financial resource. Let's talk about importance of that one. It prevents delays. Another one, it prevents cost overruns. Another one is that it prevents poor quality deliverables. Let's talk about our key resources. Key resources, number one, it's human resource. So the human resource, they have got skills, they are given roles, right? And as well as availability. Another one is physical resource. So on physical resource, you can have equipments, materials, as well as infrastructure. Then I've got finance. That is to do with budget allocation. Okay, let's talk about steps in resource planning. Number one, identify resources. So here you try to list all the available resources. So we can talk of human resource, physical resource, as well as financial resource. Number two is you estimate the needs, right? So on that one you determine the quantity and duration for each resource. From there you need to create a resource RBS. That is, you create a resource breakdown structure, right? So resource breakdown structure. So you on that one you categorize the resources. From there you assess availability. So you check those resources which you have got right there, which are internally you have them, and those resources which you don't have, which are external resources. From there you plan for tasks, right? So you plan for risks, not tasks, but you try to plan for risks. So on that one you try to prepare alternatives for shortages. So let's say there is a certain resource that you might not have, right? So you try to plan for alternative. If I might not have this one, what am I going to do? For example, in construction project, right? The resources which are supposed to have, you need to have got architectures, you need to have got laborers, you need to have got raw materials, as well as you need to have machinery. Let's talk about resource allocation. So resource allocation, this one simply means assigning resources to task for maximum efficiency. Right. So here now you are trying to assign resources now to tasks. Steps on doing resource allocation. Number one, you prioritize tasks. So on that one, you focus on critical path activities. So you are focusing on that one. You are focusing on critical path activities. From there, you are trying to match skills. So you are trying to assign those particular tasks based on the expertise that is available. Another one, you are trying to balance the workload. So there you are trying to avoid overloading resource in one area. So you're trying to make sure that all the resources are properly aligned, right? So you are not overloading whether human resource in one area or whether material resource or physical resource in one area, but you're trying to balance them. From there you use tools for you to manage, tools which they are going to help you in your resource allocation. So for example, tools like Asana, Trello, Microsoft Project, Microsoft Excel. So those tools, they can help you in your resource allocation. So you are trying now to write down in using those particular tools. Then you monitor and reallocate. So you try now to check after writing everything. You try now to check and do the adjustments if they are supposed to be done. Okay, here it's a very good example of resource allocation. So here that means you have used your Trello, your Asana, or your Microsoft project, or your Microsoft Excel to do resource allocation. So for example, here our friends did this one. These um, contractors, right? It is a construction project. So on this one, here you have got tasks, right? So here you have got what? You have got tasks. So here you have got contracts. So on contracts, we have got issues to do with proposal, uh, document review, bidding date, as well as award date. So on that one, each and every activity here has got a particular date where it is going to be done, right? And each of the task has got the particular time on or particular hours on which that one is going to be what? To be done. And each particular task has got its budget, as well as each of the task has got its responsible person who is going to do that particular task. From there, we come to design. So on design, there are also activities here. We have got feasibility study, apply for permits, start design the work, and complete designing the work. So there are also dates for all those tasks. There is time for or hours for those tasks. There are budgets for those tasks, and there are responsible people for those tasks. You can go to procurement, the issues are the same, right? You go to construction, issues are the same. So this is a good example of a resource allocation which you can use whether you are running a project, whether in forestry, whether in water management, whether you are running a project in ICT, developing a website or developing an app. You can still use the same format. You can use the same format. Okay, let's talk about best practices in resource planning and allocation. Number one, involve all the stakeholders. So all the key members are supposed to be involved. Track utilization. So monitor efficiency and adjust allocation. So you need to track how you're utilizing your resources, and if there is need for the adjustment, please do so. Plan flexibility, right? So need to add buffers for unexpected changes. So you need to, whenever you are trying to plan resources, don't just plan exact amount of resources. You should at least add some contingencies, small contingencies, some buffers. So those ones, they are going to help you in the case that they are unexpected changes. Those little resources which you have tried to add in your planning, they are going to cover you. Clear communication. So everyone should ensure that he or she understands his or her role. Use technology. So you need to leverage the use of softwares which I've already said, like Trello, Asana, Microsoft, and the like. So let's talk about challenges and solutions. So challenges there we're having limited resource and conflict of priorities. Those are likely challenges which you can encounter. Another one is underutilization and unforeseen un, unforeseen changes. Let's talk of solutions to that one. Solution number one is cross-training team members. So on cross-training team members, well, let's say you have got limited resource or conflicting priorities, right? You need to make sure that you have got cross-training team members. So on this one, you shouldn't just train a person on a single task, but you should try to train them in different what? In different tasks. So that means whether let's say you're having a limited human resource, that means the very few people which you have in your team, they can be able to do multiple tasks. Another one is outsource task if needed. Let's say in your team there are some expertise which you don't have at that particular moment, and there is no way that you can maybe train anybody at that particular moment. So you can try to go outside and try to check if there can be some people who can help you in that particular project. Another one is you need to use real-time tracking tools for adaptability. So you should try to use those tracking tools. Example, in a managing an event, right? Resource planning, you can have issues to do with identifying the venue, catering, you identify staffs, you estimate the cost as well as the availability, right? Resource allocation, so you are trying to assign task, that is booking, hiring, as well as managing. So another one is that you can you need to use tools. So Asana can help you to track task and reallocate if resources change. So you should use tools like Asana. So that's it on resource planning and allocation.